Shalawam Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalawam to the elect out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Right, and I'd like to get into a brief lesson, based off of this quote and what you can see on the screen that comes from Muhammad Ali. And this quote, it really struck my spirit, and I thought, just to get into this because, this applies to our lives, as us being men of YAHAWASHI, and this also applies unto 2/3, and you can notice it and by the folly and how they carry themselves from the old to the young, all right? So I read this quote here, and it says, "A man who views the world the same at 50 as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years of his life." All right. Now, this is a deep, deep quote, because when you look at the average Jake today, and a prime example can be, if brothers remember the show, of course, brothers should remember the show, The Boondocks. When you look at the episode where they had nigger moments, and they showed the young dudes, I believe they were fighting over stepping over shoes, and then you had the granddad having a nigger moment at his old age at 50 or 60 some odd years. So to show you that there is no difference between the 20-year-olds and the granddad, because they were still caught up in nigger moments, and in its truth, we are taught to grow. But what in this world, you're taught to, do as thou wilt. You're taught that you do what you feel is right, in which to a degree, we do things based off of the what we feel, but majority of that should be based off of the principles, and what you're supposed to stand for. And those principles stem from the makings of YAHAWASHI creating the law and instilling those things within us and our heritage as us being Hebrew Israelites, because the world wants you to go off of, what the scriptures say. Many are deceived by their own vain opinions, and evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment. And that's how the world wants you to go off of things off of your own vain opinions. And that's what creates so much hostility. That's what creates so much tension. That's what creates those nigger moments. That's what creates the lack of growth within the masses of the people. And they don't have the vision to grow because they feel as though I am who I am and this is who I'm going to be. You have to accept that or don't. And that's not how things ought to be. We all have to change. We all have to grow. It's just a part of life. When you're a child, you can't sit there and play the video and you sit there and you play the video games all day. Are you going to sit there at the age 25 years old and play video games all day? Are you going to sit there at the age of 50 and play video games all day and have nothing else going on with yourself? I don't think so. So it's the same way that, we carry ourselves within this truth as growing constantly and as being newborn babes in Yahawashi. Okay? And real quick, I want to bring out the book of Psalms 37 and 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. So we take baby steps toward that growth and towards being a new man, okay? Because what does the scripture say in 1 Corinthians, I believe it's 2 Corinthians 5 and 17? It says, "Therefore, if any man be in Yahawashi, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." Okay? And we know that we're supposed to put off the old man, and that shedding of that old man is like shedding a snake skin to a degree. Just using that as, it just came off the top of my head, just thinking about it. You You shedding that old skin because what? New skin is being formed. You know, those the things and through the walk, you know, that you've been going through, you've been learning, and through you learning, you shedding off, you know, the bad characteristics about yourself, you know, to create a better environment, you know, for yourself mentally, to create more mental stability, you know, not for you to be liked by people, but in turn, once you create, you know, a better you, you know, so to speak, more people will gravitate towards your spirit, and they will recognize, you know, the change that's within you. If people wasn't messing with you before, you know, and the scriptures teach us slowly but surely how to grow. And if 2/3 were to get, you know, into the spirit, you know, in which they can't, they would see that this is the essence of all things. And one prime example of what I always like to get into, you know, is King Solomon, you know, because what did he ask the Lord for? All right, I get straight to the point. This is First Kings 3:7, and it says, and now, O Lord, my power, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in, and thy servant is in the midst of thy people which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? Okay? And so what did Solomon ask for? He asked for wisdom. He asked the Lord to create a new spirit within him, you know, for him to grow, for him to be able to do the duties as a man and as, you know, a servant of the Lord, you know. And the point of this whole thing is about growing up, man, you know, growing up. And you have so many people out here, regardless of the things you tell them or how you try to explain to them or how you try to break it down, you know, they just don't get it. And even, you know, us brothers sometimes within this truth. And we all have to be mindful, you know, of these things as we walk every single day, that, you know, just because we're prophets, we're not always right all of the time. I'm not talking about as far as, you know, with the scriptures, but because of course, you know, we're right and exact with the scriptures, but as far as how we conduct ourselves, as far as how we may, you know, judge one another, the thoughts that we may have of one another, or, you know, the thoughts that you may have about a certain brother, how he went about a certain situation, you might think about he went about it in the wrong way, you know, but necessarily you're not always right. You know, we have, you know, a lot of assumptions, you know, as well dealing amongst the brotherhood that we have to look out for and pay attention to, you know, and really consider one another's plight, you know, as walking every single day, you know, and you don't know what's going on in the next man's mind, but you give advice, you know, to try to help out. But at the end of the day, it's that man, you know, who has to make the right decision. He has to be able to discern between good and bad for himself, you know, and that's all through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, bestowing that wisdom upon us, bestowing that discernment upon us, you know. So real quick, I want to go to the book of Proverbs 1:1, and it says, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. And this, what is known, they call this the four virtues, okay? And by these things, you know, and it speaks about this in Wisdom of Solomon, I believe it's either the 4th or the 8th chapter, you know, and these are the basic principles of what we're supposed to base our life upon, you know, along with, of course, you know, the law, statutes, and commandments, you know. But wisdom goes into everything. The scriptures say Therefore, through the desire of wisdom bringeth us to a kingdom. Justice. The point here being just, being right and exact with how you go about things, being fair, being concise, and judgment, knowing how to properly judge, and knowing that in certain judgments that you might make within your own head, it's just something that you personally think, or that you personally feel. But knowing how to separate your personal thoughts and your feelings from what the situation really is and seeing it for what it is, and equity, so all of these different things go into play of us becoming a new creature, of us becoming a new man, of us growing to not think as we did when we was 18, 19 years old, and if you're a brother that's coming into the truth around, those younger ages, this is a beautiful time for you to have that growth, so you don't have to make a lot of the same mistakes and go through a lot of the same place that other men have went through. Hence, we have, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone as guides and as father figures within this truth to guide us. And even though we're going to make, some mistakes, but those mistakes can be lessened by us listening to their testimonies and us giving a keen ear, as they break down things up unto us through the Spirit, So this verse 4 says, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. Okay, so this is all about building up what? The young man. This is all about building up the young man, because the Lord brings majority what? Young men in his truth. When you look at the brothers throughout the four corners, what? Mainly they're young men, in their 20s and their 30s, man. And this is prime time, for us to grow. If you're in your 20s and 30s, it's prime time for you to grow so that, as time goes on, we are renowned as men of knowledge amongst one another. And we can depend on one another through the brotherhood, through the discernment and through the judgments and through the knowledge in which we have, to pick one another up, when someone else is down, to make the right calls, when obstacles is ahead of brothers, and judging the right things for the body in general, or the body part in which you're dealing with, or the camp in which you're dealing with, It's all a part of the growth, all of it, man, And that's why it's very important, for you as an individual to grow, and then you help to build up those that are around you. The scriptures say, when thou art increased, strengthen thy brother. And that's all of our obligations to ourselves and to one another, But this is a step-by-step process. As long as you're making some growth, how they say, they say in the world, slow money is better than no money. Okay, so slow growth is better than no growth. We can't allow ourselves to stay stagnant. You have to be growing in some way, shape, form, or fashion within this truth and as an individual. Because as you grow as an individual, that's only going to increase your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding of these scriptures and how to apply it to your everyday life. This is verse 5. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. And as I said, what? The apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And that's why the scriptures also say, miss not the discourse of the elders, because we all have guides within this thing. And 2/3 that's out there who thinking that, oh, I'm me and you have to accept me for this, or that's it. They're in the wrong spirit because they're not attaining unto wise counsel, or they may just don't have the counsel around them, or they're denouncing the counsel, But everybody in this world is going to need a guide, okay? Period. Point blank, period. You can't get nowhere in life without having some form of guide within your life. You're either going to be guided by what you see on TV. You're going to be guided, by your environment. You could be guided by the scriptures. You could be guided by somebody wicked. You could be guided by somebody righteous. But point blank, period, you need a guide to give you some substance of life and to let you know what things really are, man, you know, and how you apply what that man or that person has told you, you know, will account unto you, you know, whether you're wise or whether, you know, you're an idiot, straight up, you know. And a wise man is going to constantly grow. A wise man is going to see the error in his ways, going to correct his mistakes and benefit from the situation. Because truly there is no such thing as a loss, you know, because we grow from our afflictions. We grow from the things in which we suffer constantly. Okay. So real quick, I want to go to the book of First Peter's 2:2, and it says, "As newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. If so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of the Most High and most precious. Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Yahawah by YAHAWASHI." Okay, so what? We're all lively stones being built up as that spiritual house. And we are literally newborn babes, regardless of whether you have 6, 7, 8 years in the truth. We're still babes, you know, and desiring the sincere milk of the word, you know what I'm saying? Every step of the way, that you may grow thereby, you know, every ounce of that milk counts, man. You know what? You have you start with a half an ounce, you know what I'm saying? You go to an ounce, you know what I mean? 2 ounces, 3 ounces, 4 ounces. You have 8 ounces, which is a cup. Now you can take on a cup, you know, as a newborn babe. Then you take on 16 ounces, which is with a pound, you know what I'm saying? You take on 32 ounces, which I believe was a pint or a quart or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you go on and go on, slowly but surely, you know. And just as a person, a bodybuilder, you know, they build up slowly but surely. And as this spiritual house of YAHAWASHI, one piece is being laid at a time, brick by brick by brick by brick, you know. Because real quick, I'm gonna go to the book of Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiasticus. Okay, this Ecclesiasticus 27 and 3, and it says, "Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown." Okay, so what? We have to hold ourselves diligently in the fear of the Lord, or the bricks that we have been building, or the bricks that we have been laying, you know, to build up the spiritual house, because we are individual house that makes up the kingdom. You know, when you look at a land, a kingdom isn't a kingdom just because one house is there or one big mansion is there. It's many other houses there that make up the community that builds that kingdom. So you, as being an individual, you building up your own house upon the foundation of Yahawashi, you know, if you don't hold yourself diligently in the fear of the Lord, you know, and constantly growing within His truth, those bricks that you've been laying, you know what I'm saying, are going to get chipped down. They're going to get chipped down. You know what I'm saying? The inspectors or something, they're going to come down and say, "What? Nah, this isn't code. This isn't the code. You got to break this on down." You know what I'm saying? And that's all through the Spirit, man. You know, and this is what a lot of people out there don't understand. And they can't seem to understand it because they don't deal with the scriptures, man. The scriptures truly are the fountain of life and give you everything that you need to sustain within this life, man. You know? Because by what wisdom you're going to be able to maintain. You're going to be able to hold down your daily standards, your living. You're going to know how to get by. You're going to know how to walk out on faith. You know what I'm saying? And also, that's another big thing. Brothers got to understand, you know, that it's a difference between, you know, walking out on faith sometimes and using wisdom, because sometimes, you know, we walk out on faith, you know, which we always, our whole life we live off of faith, period, you know, But sometimes you have to discern, well, okay, I know I have faith, but is this move right now expedient for me to do? Is this wisdom for me to do right now? You got to be able to separate those two, and at the end of the day, it's you as an individual that have to make that choice. You have to make that stance to know whether, what I'm saying, okay, I can do this and I can walk out on faith, but at the same time, this situation is kind of sticky, I could use wisdom by going about it another way. You know what I'm saying? Or doing this. So you got to weigh out your own options. And that's why the scriptures also say in the book of Ecclesiasticus, still in the book of Ecclesiasticus, right? It's 37 and there's a book of 37 and I start at verse 12 and it says, but be continually with a godly man who thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. And this is the importance of having a brotherhood around you, so that having like-minded people around you, to keep you afloat, because what they say, in the world, what, if you trying to attain something, you can't be around, people that's trying to stay down low in the hood. They just trying to smoke, drink, party, do this. If you got goals, you got to hang around people or fill yourself around people that's trying to attain things as well. Okay. And the scriptures say what the birds resort unto their like, so you got to resort to those that are in the same mind frame as you, that they can be some sort of benefit to you and you can be some sort of benefit to them. Y'all can be each other's crutches, verse 13. And let the counsel of thine own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. So at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you have to make decisions for your fate, for the way that you walk within this truth, for how you deal on a daily basis. Is you that have to make those decisions. Other brothers are there, to help you, as being one another's keeper, but it's you at the end of the day that have to make those decisions. It's you at the end of the day that has to realize your potential to grow within the truth. It's you that have to take those steps and measure out, your path diligently day by day to take those steps towards YAHAWASHI more and more every single day, so that you can grow as an individual and play your part and your role within the body of YAHAWASHI, and getting out of the mind frame, of the typical everyday stuff, and you can't always think that you're right all the time, you got to know when to accept correction, know how to thoroughly look at things, know how to take a step back and reflect on things, knowing when to speak, when not to speak, knowing how to analyze situations, all of that, That's why it also says, I continue to go on, for a man's mind is sometimes wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower. And above all this, pray to the Most High that he will direct thy way in truth. So when you make that final decision, it's the Most High, that's going to ultimately direct your way. But you have to be putting up those prayers to be guided and to make those right choices. And at the end of the day, you can't worry about nobody else's opinion or worry about what nobody else think, because regardless, people are going to think what they're going to think about you. You can't do nothing about that, Even if you tell somebody this is what it is, they may have something else in their head about you. So let them be with that thought, let them have that thought. But you know what it is within you, or the right decisions to make for yourself. But not to be prideful about it, though. Not to be prideful about it. Knowing how to properly weigh things out in the balance. Knowing how to do that, And that's why it says, verse 16, let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action. So you're weighing out all of the different options. And then at the end of the day, you come into that conclusion of what you need to do for you as an individual first and foremost. Then in turn, for the brotherhood, man, And then there's going to be some instances where you put the brotherhood before yourself. But everything deals with that balance, So, I wanted to get into that, of this quote, and I'll read this one more time. I did have a few more scriptures. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna read this one more time, and I'm gonna pull out one more precept. Um, a man who views the world the same at 50 as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. So we have to look back from the time we came into this truth to the time that we have in now. Have we been wasting our time? What growth have we seen from the day we came into this truth until now? What steps are you making? What progression are you really seeing? Are you still the same nigga from back then, from however many years ago you came into this truth? You know, do you still have that same mentality? What things have been corrected about your mentality? What things have been corrected about the actions and the steps that you take every single day? You know, are you still wild? Are you still crazy? Or are you calm and more settled? If you came into the truth and you were more wild, did you calm yourself down? Did you get a little more settled? Did you get a little more grounded? Do you know how to properly talk to people in a better way? You know, do you realize that this truth is not just about, yelling and screaming all day? You know, did you learn how to have that discretion and how to properly have a debate with somebody, or how to properly have a discourse with somebody, and not yelling and screaming and all your just emotions just pouring and flowing through you like a woman? You got to ask yourself these type of different things, because that all will show if you growing, if you progressing, or you regressing. So real quick, this is the book of Ephesians 4 and 15, and it says, but speaking the truth in love. Matter of fact, I start at verse 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even YAHAWASHI. So it's about growing up into the Lord, man. To reach that standard in which the Lord wants to see us at. Because every individual brother has a measure in which the Lord wants them to reach, a potential in which the Lord wants them to reach. So ask yourself, do you think that you've come to a decent size of your potential? Think about the potential that you had when you came in. Think about the potential that you know that you have within yourself. Do you think that you reached that? Do you think that you become the man that YAHAWAH wants you to be? What growing do you still have to do? What mistakes do you still have to put away? Ask yourself these things, man. There's nobody else in this world that should be able to tell you better about yourself than you. And if you can't do that, then there's something like right with your spirit. You got to grow, man. You got to grow, So, with that, I hope this segment was edifying, and this just was an exhortation for brothers to grow, to learn how to grow, man, to, just to examine ourselves. That's what this thing is all about, examining ourselves. We can do these lessons day in and day out, but are you applying this? Are you living it? It got to be mental first before it comes into the physical, man, So, hey, I just, like I said, once again, I hope this lesson was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalawam to the elect out there, doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalawam.